We finally got some sunshine. I made a huge mess all over the Tesla. I tried the 3M headlight restoration kit and it's a lot better, but I need to wash it now. That's all just schmoo from the process. But John's down here. He's got my old Alpinas from my E46 wagon on his wagon now, which is pretty sweet. And I wanted to show you guys this thing. This is a 2003 E46 325i Touring. Has 187,000 miles. It's a ZF5 HP 19 car. Transmission's bad. It's in limp mode. I'm not sure if it's completely grenaded. I will pull the codes, clear it, and just reset it just to see if it will go back into limp mode. I haven't looked at the fluid, but I have no record of the fluid ever actually being done on it. So I'm guessing it's toast, but black on black, sport package, much like this, I think 2000 323 IT. Still a good looking car. This one's already a manual. So plan is manual swap, clean it up. It needs a CCV, needs a full cooling system. It was done years and years and years ago, but it needs to be done again. But the car is in stellar condition, considering the miles. A little bit of wear in the back seat from a car seat previously. I think conditioner and leaving it in the sun will go a long way. But had a little bit of a misfire too. All in all, really, really nice car. I'm not even going to tell you guys what I paid for it because it is offensively low. So you can see the infamous gear icon in the cluster. So reverse works fine, but if you put it into drive, it gives you fourth gear. Which is really hard on the torque converter. So it's wise just to pedal it. Take it on a quick spin. So looks like we need plugs, and also the air pump is bad. Okay. Check engine lights off now. We'll see when that comes back. Biggest thing is going to be transmission. Unknown fault code. Oh, clamp 87. So that's voltage codes and CAN bus. All right, so no more gear icon. No fault codes. Let's quick look at the DSC. Oh, I bet this won't read an MK60. Yes, it will. Brake fluid switch. CAN. Yep, so we had a CAN fault. Hopefully, I should check the sunroof drains. I bet that's what that is. Probably water in the footwell. Interesting. DME DDE signal error. Huh. I think the DSC module needs to be refurbished on this car. That's a bummer. I had a same code like that on the E60 M5. That's probably causing this. Alright, let's quick check the instrument cluster. Light module EEPROM error. Yikes. Yeah, I think this thing had some battery issues. Huh. Light control module. So no fault codes. We got a weird selection of issues here. Okay, well, either way, let's close this. Let's take the car for a drive and see if we have all 5 gears. somebody out here. Dang it. So I'm going to be taking the M5 out today, but I decided I really wanted to try switching out this 4x3 nav unit for one that had a little bit better display and a working tape deck, since this one is completely boned. So a friend of mine gave me this one, or maybe I paid a little bit of money for it last year, and I think I even showed you in the E46 video the first steps of getting this out, but you have to pull the trim on both sides, and there's a small Phillips screw on each side of the bezel. Once the bezel pulls off, there are 4 Phillips screws, so 1 on each of the top corners. And then there are 2 little guys down here, then the unit pulls right off. I did shut off the ignition because you want the nav unit to be completely shut off in the trunk, otherwise you will probably brick it if you unplug it while it's on. So I'm going to unplug it now and shove the new one on, see, and hopefully, we'll be in good shape. Awesome possum, fully working display. Very cool. The other one had a line of, well, pretty big line of dead pixels there. So we'll screw it back in and give this thing a little bit of an exercise today. You can hear the valve train, unhappy that it hasn't been run pretty much all winter, but fired right up. Do love this car. So here we are under the new wagon. It needs an oil filter, housing gasket, a pan gasket. The trans is leaking a little bit. Probably needs a rear main. Looks like it needs a fuel filter. Other than that, though, this thing is sure clean for being a Minnesota car. All in all, really happy with that. So, yeah, it looks like the engine needs pretty much a complete reseal, but I'm actually going to top up this ZF here. Maybe not today, but before I remove it, and see if that fixes the slow to engage reverse. I'm guessing it will. Transpan actually bone dry, so doesn't look like it'll be too bad. I'm gonna actually, that end link feels okay. I think it needs top mounts because it clunks a bit, and the end links actually feel okay. Oh, needs control arm bushings really bad. Okay. Yeah, holy hell. I think we'll start with cabs. Those feel really terrible. Easy enough to do on the E46 though. All right then, well, I'll make a game plan, get some parts ordered, and I don't think this car is next on deck as far as pecking order. Hello, M5. But it'll be probably relatively soon here. What are you laughing at? Okay. Hater. Today we have the 2011 135i mSport convertible 6-speed named Spicy by my niece. It's in for a whole bunch of shit. New steering wheel, even though there's nothing wrong with the old one. Water pump, thermostat because N55. Also going to do transmission and differential oil and a CDV delete. First thing though, pulled the old H6 AGM battery out of it. Oh God. Oh. We're gonna do the steering wheel. I have an old video on this, but there are 2 small hidden holes on each side. You put a flat blade in until you find the clip, you push in and you can work the airbag out. That's what we're gonna start with. Make sure the battery's disconnected. So, quick refresher, screwdriver in the side. That's what you're doing, both sides. Push and pull the airbag, gray connector here. All you gotta do. So, pull the steering wheel logic control, get a Torx, I think T15 or T20. Just make sure everything is separated nicely before you actually pull the airbag. You don't have to disconnect either of these. And grab your 16, I think it is, and then make sure the steering wheel is perfectly centered as you change out the actual wheel itself. Away you go. Wheels in, batteries in, coated. Release the coolant system pressure. It's been half hour now, so feeling a little bit better about that. Still going to be a little on the toasty side. Typically when you do a water pump, you want it to cool all the way off. However, the plus side, if the thermostat's still open at all, you can drain the system a little bit quicker. So now we go up, pull the hose off the water pump, and start the drain process. So the convertible's got a couple braces that I don't normally see on the coupes. Attach here, 2 bolts on each side up here, and then another one right here. Once that's off, there are 4 13s on the sway bar bushings. Normally there's a single 10 on the power steering hose. This one's sheared, unfortunately, but you can see the pump right there. We'll start with the 2 10 mils here, which hold the thermostat to the pump. Then we'll get the hose clamps on the pump itself. There's a small electrical connector right there. Use a pick or a small flat blade to get at that. And then we will drain all of the coolant out of the pump here before moving on to the E10 bolts here and here. And then there's one way up on the top here, which you need a socket extension and a swivel for. All right, hose is off, thermostat's loose. Now we're gonna go for the upper hose clamp on the pump. Then we'll grab those 2 E-Torques on the bottom, and then the one on the top, which is, there you can see it, that bad boy right there. So the pump I pulled out had been worked on before, and it is labeled 2018. So is the thermostat. So we're only going to do a pump today. Typically I'd recommend both. I had both, but there's just no sense in doing the thermostat when it's that fresh. So the pump probably has 40,000 miles on it. Good to do it anyway. In it goes. All right. New pump's in, E-plug's on, thermostat's connected, 10 mils are in, torqued. A little bit of thread locker on all 3 of these bolts. They're in and torqued. Everything looks pretty good, so time to put the sway bar back up. I'll have to try to figure out what to do with the isolator, which clearly got stripped off last time they did a pump. Probably just end up zip tying around that because I don't have an isolator on me. Sway bar back up, and then we will do the bleed procedure, which is foot off the clutch, foot on the brake, put the key in the dash, hit the start stop button, crank the temperature all the way up in the climate control, and hold your foot on the accelerator for 10 seconds. Then we'll go through a 2-minute bleed procedure, and you can check the coolant level. So we'll do that all before we put the under panel back on, and hopefully we are leak free. All right, so loosen up the bleed screw, fill this until there is fluid coming out of this hole, then go into your car. All good, no leaks.
Smiley Ricardo over there with leaking again?
That's what the trans oil looked like, aka really not good. So we're gonna fill this up with Pentosan ATF1. That's what the factory oil is. Normally I do Redline D4 ATF, but it just doesn't matter here. And then we'll go onto the diff and drain that by sucking it out of the fill, which is right here. And then we'll put 75 W90 in there, Redline GL5, since it doesn't have a limited slip. So just pump that in, get her done. Oh yeah, and the CDV is gone. All right. Should be all good. Diff oil, trans oil, CDV delete. One thing I didn't do is engine oil. We'll do that soon. And I'll have to drive to reset all those lights. So a quick update on the E36. This thing now consistently will start. No problem. It does still throw a cam sensor code, which I'm a little dubious about. I do have one, haven't put it in yet. But on an even bigger note, oh, that looks like garbage with the flash on. Hold on. All right, well, when you're actually in the interior, it matches pretty well. I still have to tuck in this little belt trim piece I had to pull off, but the headliner and the shader has fabric again. This was just some headliner foam back stretchy fabric I got off, I think, eBay. Really good stuff. I'm gonna have to make sure I bookmark that link. When I redid the 850 headliner years ago, the product I used was not nearly as good. Oh, there's the cam sensor. I have a bunch left sitting back there that I don't think I'll need. Like I said, I just have to kind of tidy up this little curb trim thing that's just having a harder time go onto the pinch here. But that's all good. And then I'm going to have that area in front of the passenger rear wheel fixed, or at least patched in and painted to make the car at least present a little bit better. And then hopefully one of those websites will take this thing for sale. I'd like to just get out of it at this point, even though it's, you know, as far as E36s go, it's pretty much tops, sedan, 5-speed, reasonable colors, decent condition. So either way, just had to comment on the headliner material finally being back in place since I bought the car with a naked shader. So looking much better. Today is the day when I finally install this steering wheel I bought a year ago in the 1 Series. So first step's going to be disconnecting the battery, and then we'll hop inside. Okay, so now I just need to make sure it is really centered. Right now it is not. That looks pretty much perfect. And then we will grab the flat blade screwdriver, and we will find, there's a perforation right there. You want to put the blade in horizontal, and then you'll see the bag pull out. Do that on both sides. All right, so you have 2 options. You can remove the plugs from the airbag, or you can take off this little, I think it's a T15. We'll look at the other wheel. We will pull the connectors out of the airbag, it looks like, since there's already connectors in there. I'll use the flat blade for this too. You have to release the back portion of the connector, and then you can remove it entirely. Then we've got, I believe, a 16 mil in the center. Again, just making darn sure that it is straight the whole time. Remove that, and then the wheel will pull right off once we've taken the 2 little electrical connectors out. So we'll bolt it in, plug everything back in, make sure these are snapped in with their little clips. And yeah, the airbag just pushes in, snaps in. Then we can hook the battery back up and make sure everything is a-okay. Awesome possum. I did have to assist the airbag going back in on the left side with the screwdriver on the pin, but hey, I like that aesthetic. That's nice. I'm going to overlook the fact that that's technically brown stitching and this is technically orange because I found this locally on Marketplace for cheap. So it looks really great. Use this to condition your Alcantara steering wheels if you have them. Really good stuff. And then also I recommend a set of driving gloves. I know they look a little bit dorky, but they're the bee's knees when it comes to keeping this stuff nice. So finally got around to doing that. Let me hook the battery up and make sure nothing explodes. Well, no airbag light. I'd say we're good. Bonus cold start.